Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that you and I and he wants to talk about.
Switching things up.
Just a little bit.
So what do you want to talk about to start out? You got something on the top of your head?
No, I have all kinds of things to mention today. It's going to be a busy day for me doing the show, obviously, and then 4 exciting basketball games this afternoon and this evening that we will be live streaming and doing play-by-play in color on. So a long day for me, but good show today. We're going to have Jamie Horton on, the former Elite Series guy, current FLW guy. Had a great start to the FLW season.
Well, a great start in the second tournament. Yeah. He had his worst finish ever in his 3 years of fishing the FLW Tour to start things off in Okeechobee.
Like what you talk about all the time, it's not a sprint. It is a marathon.
It's a marathon, but he came back. He was leading the first day there on the Harris chain, ended up finishing 21st. But a number of things to talk to Jamie Horton about. I
don't know the guy that well.
He's a Lake Martin expert. I saw him down there on Lake Martin.
Yeah.
He actually finished third in the FLW Tour stop on Lake Hartwell in 2016 on the exact day that the Classic starts this year. So we'll maybe be able to pick his brain about that.
All right.
He's got Lake Lanier for the FLW Tour coming up, which is only about 4 hours from where he lives in Alabama.
Yeah.
And I also just want to kind of pick his brain about some different stuff. So, he has had 2 top 20 finishes the last 2 seasons on the FLW Tour, 15th and a 16th. And is approaching $500,000 in career earnings between Bass and FLW. Mm-hmm. He's the best. He won the Federation Nation back when it was the Federation. Back in 2011, I believe. Yeah, 2011. So he's been around. He's got a bunch of stuff. So he's going to join us, talk a little bit about the Harris chain, a little bit about Lanier.
Did you say he finished dead last in the first one?
No, 107.
Oh, okay.
There's there's like 750 people fishing the FLW Tour this year.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Speaking of FLW events, the Costa on Seminole, which was supposed to kick off today, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds.
Yeah. Nasty weather.
They ain't fishing.
Yeah, so they canceled.
Yeah, a little up the road and westernly, the Bass Central Open is taking place on Ross Barnett, and the fearless Ronnie Moore is on the water, and it was taking some pretty terrifying pictures of a front coming through.
Wait a minute. What did you say from a geographic standpoint? What did you just say?
It's a little bit, isn't it a little bit northwest?
Where is Seminole? Where is Seminole?
Seminole's on the Georgia-Florida border.
Okay, where is Ross Barnett?
It's in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
So it's west.
Do I need to get the map out?
No, it's west.
That's not what you said.
Yeah, it is. That's 100%. We can go back and listen to the replay.
Okay. So where is it?
It's in Jackson, Mississippi.
I understand that. So geographically from
it'd be
Seminole,
I don't know if it's straight west or a little bit. Oh, it's probably northwest.
Jeez.
It's probably northwest.
How did you do in geography?
I did great. I went to the geography semifinals in Illinois when I was in like 8th grade.
Can you name all 50 capitals in the U.S.?
At one point I could. I bet I could get 30.
Could you get 90% of them?
No, I could probably get 30 of them.
California.
Is it Sacramento?
Yeah, good. Nevada. Enough of that. You don't know Nevada? Seriously?
No, I do, but I
don't
can't.
say Las Vegas.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
You can't throw me on the spot like that. What is it?
Wow, it's Carson City.
Oh, okay.
You probably didn't even know that existed. Anyway.
No, I did.
All right, good stuff. So we'll get to Jamie here in a few minutes. A couple other things. I got my Bass Times. When was it? Tuesday, I think. I think it came in Tuesday. And a week from today, correct?
Yeah, we're going to publish it on Wednesday and then talk about it on Thursday.
Is that the plan?
Yes. So people can sit there and look at it.
Okay. I've already started doing my research, and I have preliminary lines for my classic odds.
That's already been done, though, Mark, this year.
Please. All right. This is from a betting perspective, not who's going to win or anything like that. This is as if the Bass Zone had a casino in Las Vegas and we were setting the line.
What about Carson City? What if it was in Carson City?
Could be. All right. We were setting the line on trying to persuade and get action on different anglers that are participating.
You're the hypothetical bookie.
I am the hypothetical bookie.
And I'm your...
this is for
am I
entertainment.
Your muscle? Am I your muscle? If people don't send me out there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, right? Mark needs his money.
It is for entertainment purposes
on that
only.
Mike Iaconelli pick that didn't pay off for you.
We've been doing this now for, a long time.
7, 8 years?
Yeah, long time. Judasy and I actually did it a long time ago,
back when you did the XM show.
So you can look forward to that. There are a lot of things to take into consideration, including the weather. And with some of the guys that I've spoke with already, Matt, this thing is not going to turn into what we thought it might turn into when the schedule first came out.
What did you think it was going to turn into?
A lot more pre-spawn, not really close to the spawn, but based upon the warm weather, the rain, the lake level, just the conditions in general. This is something where I don't think Casey Ashley is going to have this massive HFA, simply because of the conditions that are taking place. That, folks, it's going to open it up wide open.
Is he your favorite still, though?
Right now?
Don't say what he is, but he's not your favorite.
He's not my favorite.
Casey Ashley, defending champ with the tour victory on it, is not your favorite.
Not my favorite.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
Do you agree with that or disagree? Do you think it's going to open up?
It's definitely going to open up because I have a contact down on Lake Hartwell who fishes it on a regular basis and said, oh, there's some cool stuff that's in the water, and if it continues the way that it has been, you're going to see a lot of big weights and a lot of different ways that guys are going to catch them.
Yeah.
So
when you take a look at the previous classic that was there, the snow, the weather, the cold, and all that, with it backing it up, and with for the most part, mild conditions leading up to what is to be expected, I really don't think it's going to set up the same way it did the last time the classic was there.
Yeah, they're kind of parallel to us. So we'll go back to geography as far as the same. What is that? The latitude. And what is the?
You're the GPS guru.
What is the horizontal line? Is that the? On
latitude.
the latitude. They're kind of on the same latitude as us, so very similar to what we've experienced.
Yeah, and we're besides the rain that we've had over the past couple of weeks, pretty stable weather is settling in here from a temperature standpoint. So I just think it's going to be different. I think you're gonna see some guys that when the announcement was made, you put these guys at the forefront of the leaderboard, but now because of the changing conditions, I think the odds are going to change, and I think some people are going to be surprised by what the betting line would be if this was truly an opportunity to go to Vegas and
we'll ask
lay
Jamie
down
Horton
some
who he
cash.
thinks is going to do well there because, like I said, he was third there 2 years ago, and it was March 17th.
Yeah.
So
Hey, one thing I want to mention, we are trying to get Mr. Mercer on the show, correct? Mm-hmm. Dave Mercer, you're working on that. We're hoping to have him on next Thursday. But I want to ask him about this. Something really caught my attention when I was perusing my news feed on CNBC. And you had came up with some crazy idea, and I don't even know if we ever discussed it on the show, but I'd like to do an experiment.
Okay.
Right? And it is tied in to the subject that you brought up. I think it was last year. It's been recent, right? So the Mercer tied into the same because he's from Canada. There were a couple guys in Canada that decided that they were going to be, kind of out there and really, they were real estate guys. And I guess the real estate market in Canada has been very, very up and down, right? They weren't making a lot of money. So they came up with this idea that they were going to start selling cans of Canadian Air for $20. Now, have you heard about this?
No.
All right. They went to this special place, and I don't even know where this special place is. I don't even know how to pronounce it right. It's Banff. There's no I, though. It's Banff National Park.
Banff?
Banff. All right, I'm not really sure how you say
Not
it.
a real
It says
place.
one of the most beautiful places in the world. There's the picture of it right there. See it?
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Snow-capped
So
mountains, moose, bears,
All right, so they started
capturing the air
capturing the air.
in like a cans,
Yes.
like a pop can style.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their first year, they sold $230,000 worth of this stuff.
To dumb Americans who wanted Canadian air.
Americans, Europeans,
So what? You get the gift.
Middle Eastern.
You open it and you just inhale deeply.
Yeah. And you can smell the pine trees.
Is this where you're going with the water?
Yes.
Yes.
All
it's
right.
the
So
same-
hang on. All right. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So I was really, really, really intrigued. Last year, they sold 40,000 units of these things.
at $20 a pop.
Yeah. All right. And they expect to double the figure in 2018. So that obviously, when I read this, I thought of your deal. All right? Taking the livewell water of whoever the classic champion is.
Or even just the launch water from Green Pond.
Well, I don't know about that. See, I was going a little deeper.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
I was increasing the value for it.
Right. The live well water
All right?
from.
Here's what I want. I want you to capture some live well water out of the live well of whoever wins. All right? And we're going to put it in a bottle, and we're going to throw it on eBay, and we're going to see how much it brings.
Okay.
We're going to promote the hell out of it. Who is willing to pay X amount of dollars? And here's where we're not going to keep the money, folks. Okay? Whatever the dollar amount is that brings from that bottle of water.
Now I got to get this. This is not an easy task.
No, you are on a mission, my friend. Okay? And we're going to donate the money to a charity. Okay? Now, that may increase the value because somebody might be willing to pay a little bit more since the money's going to a charity, but obviously, we're not going to take the money and
So
pocket
just
it.
in hypothetical, it would be like a vial of Jordan Lee's live well water from the Conroe Classic.
Yeah. How much money will that bring on eBay? All right? What's your guess?
I don't
Forget
know.
about the charity
We
factor.
need to get Brody of the Lake in here because he's the resident expert on eBaying bass fishing items. I think he could
the first time in
It
this...
depends on who wins.
All right, in this story about the Canadian Air, that's what they did. The very first thing that they did, they put a bottle of air on eBay, and it sold for like $2. Mm-hmm. The very first one. The very next one that they put on eBay sold for $168.
Wow. I think we could get.
All right.
I think we could get $50 out of it.
I think we could get more.
If you it depends on what you add with it. If you add a certificate
No.
of authenticity
Yeah,
with
get him
that
to
angler
sign-
to sign it and the vial.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more than 50. We're shooting for more than $50. But I actually want to see if anybody's even willing to bid on it. All right, so that is part of your mission. You don't have a lot of responsibilities at the class. Well, I take
Are you
that back.
kidding me?
You have a few. All right, but that is
We'll
at
talk
the
about
top-
this after the.
That is at the top of your list to get that live well water.
No response.
All right, can you do it? Can you do it?
Well,
Can
hell
you
yeah.
achieve
I
it?
apparently don't have anything else to do. I just have to
I didn't
stalk the
say
guy
that.
who's going to win the tournament, apparently.
I don't think stalking is the correct term. All right, using your political and media leverage that you have.
My political leverage? Yes, I can get that done.
Thank you.
I will attempt to get that done.
All right, so we'll see how far that goes, but very, very interesting story. Yeah, man, those dudes are expected to sell a ton of air. Can of air. It's worse than the Pet Rock. You don't remember the Pet Rock, do you?
Yes.
Have you heard stories of the Pet Rock?
Yeah. From back in the day, and then there's another one. They
brought it back?
Yeah, there's a recent one that's like selling like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
How much are those things
I
going
think they
for?
were like $100-something bucks at one,
What?
like Neiman Marcus or something.
Man, every time we talk about rocks, I can't forget about the greatest Carolina rig anchor or weight or whatever you want to call it ever invented.
The greatest Carolina rig weight ever invented.
Yeah, that won Best of Show. at
Oh, the
ICAST.
rock. It was an actual rock
It was
with a
a rock.
swivel in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Use
remember
that for
that.
a Carolina rig
Just
weight,
like
man.
a polished stone with a barrel swivel coming out of it.
Yeah,
I think they still make them.
yeah.
Which would be, I think it would be even more bizarre if you're a fish and it's suspended and you see this rock just suspended off the bottom. That would have to be a bottom contact thing, because I mean, even a fish would go, that's not natural.
No.
If you're dropping on them.
No. All right. So you're on a mission, man. Get
right.
that live well water. All right, everybody. It is Thursday. We're coming back with Jamie Horton. Everybody stay tuned.
The most versatile fishing machine on Earth. Unparalleled resolution and clarity, with more agility, lightning speed, and brute strength. HDS Carbon takes rapid response performance and screen technology to an all-new level. Maximized power, maximized visibility. See Structure Scan 3D, new dual chirp sonar, new live network sonar, and more mapping options, all at the same time and faster than ever before.
Pros depend on hydraulic jack plates to get the best out of their boats. Do what they do. Demand Atlas performance. Atlas gets you from the bottom to the top in less than 8 seconds, even with the big 4 strokes. And when you gotta turn right around and get that heavy load back up in rough water, Atlas's innovative design and American-made components will get you there with confidence.
I'm at Depot. Just look for yourself. There's an Atlas jack plate on just about every professional's boat.
The Atlas hydraulic jack plate. You can depend on it.
My rods look different because they are different. Every rod is built by the pros and for the pros. When you pick up a white Duckett fishing rod, you're getting a cutting-edge rod, one that's truly pro-driven, with the actions you need for every bait category you fish. I put my name on it. It's my promise to build you a great rod you can count on.
Duckett Fishing, Micro Magic, Macro Magic, or White Ice.
Try them. They work.
What's up, guys? Scott Martin here, Team AFCO. Hey, if you want to have a chance to fish with me at a lake near you, well, check out the link below. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys.
The Lowrance Elite 7 TI. Why does it lead the pack? It's simple. More bang for your buck. Use Elite 7 TI with the all-new Total Scan transducer, and you get all of your sonar from a single transducer install. That's broadband sounder, chirp sonar, side scan, and down scan imaging from one transducer. Now that's something to chirp about. Elite 7 TI. Premium features have never been so affordable.
I'm looking for signs before practice even starts. Crossing the bridge, I'm checking for current. Is the lake up or down? What's my watercolor? Bird activity tells me where the shad are before I ever launch my boat. Sometimes the best things hit me right in the face.
The pesky biffle bugs. There's always a hatch on your lake. Made in America by Jean LaRue Lures.
Dang bug juice, it's everywhere.
When I talk about Sunline, I think of one word: confidence.
Sunline FX2 is what I use for all of my frogging and flipping.
SX1 braid, which braid plays a big part in fishing line. Shooter, I'm going to use in those close quarter deals like flipping and pitching.
One of my favorite techniques in fishing the tournament trail is to fish offshore ledges.
We have taken the questions out of the equation.
Take my word for it. It works. It works, dude.
All right, we are back, Mark and Matt, on a Thursday. You're getting ready for a derby this weekend.
I guess you could call it that.
Oh, what? Like you said, somebody's going to win a boat.
Yeah, it's going to be off-roading. Am I turned up? I can't hear myself in my headsets. There we go.
What's wrong?
That's better. Yeah, it's going to be more like off-roading. As much mud as there is in the system. But it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be get to go spend a couple days on the water this year. Actually, fishing with a buddy who used to fish on the Elite.
I thought you were fishing by yourself.
No, I got Kevin Ledoux on board. So he's back. His back, he had a lot of back issues. So he's finally to the point where he can fish and enjoy it without being in excruciating pain. So
hey, I'm going to set the over-under right now.
On catching a fish?
No, the over-under.
On what?
On how much weight you guys will have. Now that I know who you're fishing with. We'll see how it
there's always got to be a qualifier when I fish. If I catch him, it'll be because I fished with Ledoux. It's never, hey, great, you went out, you found him, you caught him. It's always you got lucky, you got help, you got really lucky, or you fished with someone who knew what it was. I'm talking about everything
How
off
much time has
limit.
Ledoux spent on the water?
Not hardly any at Grand at all.
So he hasn't been up there this week at all?
No. No, the guy works like 100 hours a week. No, he hasn't been up there this year.
Okay, how much time have you spent on the water this week?
On Grand?
Yeah.
None.
Okay, so you guys are just going to roll into town and dominate. I'm putting the
I never said we were going to dominate. It's an enjoyable experience. I'm not trying to make a career out of this. There's three tournaments out of the Nichols tournaments every year.
Totally opposite of what you told me the previous week.
That is not.
Because you were ragging on me about fishing the old man tour. I said, look, I do it because we have fun.
You said that I couldn't fish, and I said, if you fish the Federation, let's put $500 man-to-man. Guy who finishes ahead gets it. And you go, no, I don't want to do that.
That's because I don't do it.
I don't do it either.
From a competitive standpoint. You make that statement right now. You're telling me that you don't do it from a competitive standpoint?
I'm very competitive.
That's what I'm saying. All right? So I'm putting the over-under.
But I'm not saying.
I'm putting the over-under right now, 8 pounds.
Okay.
I'm taking the under.
Well, that's because you've been talking to your boys up at Grand Lake who haven't been catching them. So maybe things will still settle down.
Dude, I wish you nothing.
The fish are still in the lake. They've got to be somewhere in the lake. It's not like they go, oh, it's muddy and there's
you
current.
Got like 12 hours to find them. So have at it.
You're just negative when it comes to if the conditions are not absolutely perfect. You go doom and gloom.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. I've known you way too long.
Somebody is going to catch him.
You've planned on going fishing like 15 times, and you cancel 12 out of those 15 because it's not ideal conditions.
That's not true.
Okay.
We'll talk about that after we get to Jamie.
He goes fishing no matter what. He doesn't care. He'll go fishing. He'll put him in the water, yeah.
All right, let's bring him in. Jamie, you there, man?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
He didn't know what he was getting into.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the argument we just had, man.
Trying to figure out what it's going to take to win on Grand this weekend.
Not much, man. Not much, Jamie.
I bet it's going to be a lot better than it has been.
See, there's a positive.
Yeah, but he has no idea what the conditions are.
It has rained like 6 inches and the lake came up like 5 feet. But other than that.
Anyway, Jamie, thanks for taking time out. A decent start to the season, a little struggles there in the first tournament, but a nice performance at the Harris Chain.
Yeah, down at Okeechobee, you can fish really well, and I felt like I fished pretty well at Okeechobee, so I wasn't upset when I left or anything. A little bit with my finish, but not with my performance. Then Okeechobee, you just have to get a big bite, and if you don't get it, you kind of where you at, and it takes at least 1 6-pounder to have a chance to get a check, and 2 to have a chance to do pretty good, and I just never got that bite at Okeechobee, so I didn't beat myself up over it too bad on the way home.
Now, we talked at Lake Martin, the Elite Series stop there. You were there, I think representing some of your sponsors, hanging out. And you also talked to our boy Dave Rush, and we got back in and Dave said, boy, Jamie said he's going to catch him at the Harris Chain. And this was before you'd even gone there. Dave was saying, man, he was really confident, really looking forward to that stop. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Well, you go there and you bust 25 pounds on the first day and lead it on the first day. So what did you know that you were going to go there and catch him, that you were so confident going into that tournament?
Well, actually, the tournament didn't turn out exactly like I was expecting. I just was thinking that with the cold weather and the later winter, and at least the fish kind of missed the spawn in January, I was thinking the spawn was going to be a lot better than it actually was last week. Of course, the spawn was pretty good. It's just a lot of the fish in the canals were finished, and a lot of the fish out on the lake was trying to spawn around Kissimmee grass and stuff like that, and a lot of the water had too much color in it. So, actually, when I got down to Harris, it didn't set up exactly like I was expecting. I was expecting it to just be like a really full-blown spawn tournament.
Now, for a guy who's leading the first day, he ended up with a 21st place finish. Would you rather be leading the first day and have that and end up finishing 21st, or start out in like 80th and then work your way up to 21st? As a guy in your position, which way, if you're going to end up 21st, which way do you want to do that?
I kind of, over the years, I've always fished local tournaments and federations and BFLs, and I just always done really good fishing one-day tournaments. And that just seemed to be what my strength kind of was. And when I went to fishing these 3- and 4-day tournaments, you try to change up what you do. And sometimes when you change up what you do, it's hard to be as successful. So I found out that my best, I do better if I fish each tournament as a one-day tournament. And what I mean by that, I look for sight fish for 3 days, knowing that it wasn't going to be enough of them to win the tournament anywhere, but knowing I could find enough to have a really good first day and try to go from there. I actually had, my plans were more maybe to sight fish the first day and not do it anymore, but then once I saw some new ones move up the first day, I actually thought some more would move up the second day, and that didn't work out, so it's kind of hard to predict. And, if everything's set up perfect with the moon and everything's in your favor, you can kind of predict what's going to happen, kind of like we was at Hartwell 2 years ago. But kind of on this side, on the downside of the moon and in between moons, fish will go on bed. They will still come up. It's just hard to predict for sure what they're going to do. And there is some fish that come up during the week. And it just didn't enough of them come up in the area I was in.
So, speaking of predictions, what's going to happen at Lanier next week, Jamie? You're back up in there, you're back in the Forest Wood Cup hunt, and then are heading to, and I talked to you off air about this, a fishery that's only, about 4 hours from where you live in Alabama?
Yeah, Lanier has been probably the tournament that I've kind of dreaded going to the most out of the past 3 years fishing FLW, just because of the things I heard about it and the way it sets up for deep fishing and all. Got pretty fortunate with all the rain. Got a lot of rain that's going to kind of change. There'll be fish caught deep. There'll be a lot more fish caught shallow than it normally would have been. Then also, spring is about 2 weeks ahead. So there's going to be a very good chance that sight fishing could be pretty fairly strong. What's going to help us at Lanier is it's a good lake. It's got a lot of fish in it. And I think any pattern that you consider your strength, whether it's sight fishing, fishing offshore, fishing docks, or chatterbait down the bank, I think any pattern that you would consider your strength will be going on at Lanier next week.
It's funny you mentioned that deep thing, Mark. I remember, and I think this was you, Jamie. If it wasn't, this is not going to be good, but I'm 90% sure it was you have caught the deepest fish in Elite Series competition that I have ever heard of. You probably caught the deepest fish in the history of the Elite Series, in their 13 years of the Elite Series. Out of every fish caught, you've probably weighed in the fish that came out of the deepest water, up there at the St. Lawrence, right?
Those fish were in 105 foot of water on some kind of sunken sailboat. And that was pretty, at first I thought I might have been catching them on the way down. And I think I did catch some on the way down. But we definitely caught some that were on the bottom.
105 feet.
105.
That's
pretty incredible.
Mark, have you ever heard of anything that deep getting caught?
No,
and there's a lot of them that their lakes aren't even.
Fishing.
But in the Elite Series, he weighed them in.
No, not at all. Nope, not on Erie. Nothing. No.
How is this classic gonna shake up, Jamie? You fished in classics before. Like I said, it's exactly 2 years ago, March 17th. You had a third on Lake Hartwell in the FLW Tour. Is this going to be a You said they're ahead there in Alabama. Are guys going to catch fish, in your opinion, off the bed? Is this going to be a full-blown pre-spawn, or is it going to be a winter derby? I mean, I know you probably haven't looked forward that much ahead, but based on your opinion, what's it going to do?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fish on bed at Hartwell for sure, and there'll be a lot of guys to fish, but there'll also be a lot of guys that can throw a spinnerbait and a chatterbait and a square bill in the dirtier water, and maybe a few fish still set up on docks, which should be going away that week. And as far as the deep fishing out deep, 12 to 15-foot spots on gravel bars or something may play a fact, but then the way them fish do in the back of them pockets on the herring spawn and stuff like that, I don't think that'll be going on. I think that'll be going away. But the good thing about when we was there, a lot of the shallow stuff had gotten kind of beat up pretty bad because of the number of boats. You know, the Classic, they don't have the pressure, so that tournament could easily get one sight fishing or just fishing the dirtier water.
Jamie, do you think that the Classic is setting up to be wide open? In other words, so much discussion about the home lake advantage, the home field advantage with Casey Ashley and some of the guys that are very familiar with Hartwell. But now with the stage that the fish might be in and the weather conditions, is this thing really more wide open than a lot of people thought it would be?
Well, it'll 100% be more ways to catch them than what went on in the last Classic. And, you know, Casey will probably do great in the tournament because he's a really good fisherman on that lake. But as far as having an advantage, because he knows how to fish the canes and stuff like that, I think all that will be going away. I think the tournament get won around the bank, you know, either sight fishing or just fishing the bank. And I think it'll be a slugfest. I mean, with no more boats in the tournament, water's going to be fresh. It's going to be a really exciting event, and they're going to really catch them good.
I agree.
I'm here. So, speaking of catching them good, I want to play a little game with you, Jamie. And we did this with Jason Christie, and it worked out pretty good. But I have some. There's a lot of, I guess, mystique around you and the people who have fished with and against you in Alabama over the decades. So I have some. So I guess what would they be? Rumors? Not rumors, but what's it called when they're like, not old wives' tales? What's it called, Jeffries? Where they're like. I got some stories that have some mystique around them, and I want to go straight to the source to see if these are truth or rumor.
Okay.
You in? You okay with this?
I'm good.
Okay, you could say no comment on some of these if you don't want to, but I just want to know if these are truth or rumor. So, I mean, you've won over 150 tournaments in Alabama.
Yes, that's probably true.
Probably true. That's like multiple wins every single year for a lot of years, Jamie.
Yes, we really, I had a great partner, and we fished very good together, and we actually had a very good career fishing buddy tournaments. And we're in a place where buddy tournaments kind of excel over any other part of the country. I mean, I think I won 12 boats. A lot of them was fishing local. Some of them was other type stuff. Airport Marine, won several boats through Airport Marine. I mean, we're in a great location for buddy bass fishing for sure here in Alabama.
Do you think there is a niche or a need to have a professional team tournament that travels the country where it is a five fish where the two guys work together on a FLW or Elite Series entry fee base?
Dude, I think that would be, I think that would have been a lot of fun. And back in the day when me and Kobe Carden fished so much together, it takes a lot of pressure off of you when all you got to find is the way to catch 2 or 3 fish the next day, not 5. And we worked together really well. And to have that opportunity back when me and him fished together, man, I would have loved it.
All right, so one of the things whenever your name comes up in conversation with anybody else from Alabama, everybody has a story about something different that you put in the live well. You apparently like to put a lot of things that are not bass in the live well, Jamie. So we're gonna play a little truth or rumor on have these things been in your live well before? We'll start out with a bobcat. Rumor is You were driving across the river one time. You saw a bobcat. You netted it, and you tried to jam the thing in your live well. Truth or rumor?
Well, the truth is I tried, and what really happened was when I tried to flip the net over to get him in the live well, he run up the net handle, clawed me in the shoulder when he jumped off over the front deck of the boat, and I just let him keep swimming in. It was very close.
Wow.
What were your plans if you had gotten him in the live well, Jamie?
I guess the only thing in Alabama that I actually haven't caught with my hands is a bobcat. I mean, I put a 120-pound wild boar in the middle compartment of that Ranger.
Okay, so that was truth. That was one of them.
Wow.
And putting him in was no problem. He just got untied while he was in there. Getting him out was the bigger issue.
What'd you do with him?
Yeah.
We got him out, and then, of course, at the end of the day, we ended up eating him.
Was it good? Is it good?
Yes. Wild boar is more leaner, less fat. It's really good.
Barbecue?
That's right.
Yeah.
On the grill.
Yeah.
Old hat one time.
Matt, we need to do that.
We got a lot of things around here now.
We need to do that one.
Okay, the next one is, this is kind of a two-parter. That you captured an alligator, you put it in your live well, then you took it home, walked into the house with the alligator, and tossed it on the couch next to your wife who was watching TV.
Yes, that didn't go too well. Actually, my little brother threw a bowl of cereal up on top of the chandelier in the living room.
Oh, my God.
Scared him so bad.
How big was it?
It was just like a 4-footer.
Just a foot. Was its mouth taped shut or anything?
Well, no, his mouth wasn't taped shut. And, but anyway, I mean, that's probably not. Ended up somehow some alligators got in our local river, and the news come there and done a report on them migrating up the river, and it's kind of a pretty funny story.
Wow.
All right.
That's a really long time ago.
All right. You're probably wondering how I got all these truth or rumors, aren't you?
That one there, I am a little curious.
Okay, the next one is there's a rumor going around that a few years back you decided to get on the Weight Watchers program, and you called up one of your buddies after a week and a half on it and said, I've eaten all this food, I haven't lost any weight. You ate the whole 3-month supply in the first week.
Yeah, that was actually the Nutrisystem. And, yeah, that didn't turn out very well. I didn't lose any weight on that. I have lost 80 pounds before, a while back, but I had to do something else.
So we got all truths there, Mark. Plus we threw in the boar one, too. We've got a boar, the gator, the bobcat, and you had what, pet foxes and deer and all sorts of stuff growing up.
Yeah, when Alabama plays in Tuscaloosa, that's like the biggest traffic day where I live. It's be bumper-to-bumper traffic. And actually, my deer and my cow got out, and they was on the side of the highway, and the only way I could get them to stay with me was jogging. So back then, I was in pretty good shape. So I went in there, and I was actually running up the highway with a cow and deer following me, and actually had the whole highway shut down, traffic, on the busiest day of the year when Alabama played in Tuscaloosa.
Wow.
I didn't have them in a pen. They was just out in the yard.
That's good stuff. Now, Jamie, Mark, I don't know if you know this, Jamie's probably the biggest Roll Tide fan.
Bigger than Tripp?
You rivals Tripp. Yeah. He wrapped the back of his truck with an elephant when he was on the Elite Series. So, I mean...
Yeah, Tripp's just a good Bama fan. He's not a great Bama fan like some of us around here. We really love it. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I was going back through... What's that?
Actually, we just made that video and put out and had over 230,000 views on that video we made here at the office, kind of about summed up the season last year.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those voiceover deals.
Gotcha.
You can check it out on his Facebook page. One of the things I want to touch on this before we let you go, Jamie, is one of the things that Mark and I like to talk about is success at lower levels of tournament competition and how that translates into success at the higher levels. And obviously, you look at your past 2 years on the FLW Tour, 2 top 20 finishes in the Angler of the Year standings. You have Classic under your belt, the Federation Championship, fish on the Elite Series. But for about a decade there, when you were consistently fishing the BFLs in that Bama division, I mean, you racked up 17 top 10s in BFL competitions and have a couple wins under your belt. In your opinion, how important is having success at that BFL level before you make that move to an Open and Everstart, Elite Series, or FLW Tour level? Because I mean, you smoked them for a lot of years before you made that jump.
Yeah, I really had a lot of success fishing one-day tournaments here at the local level, and you know, a lot of it was I could practice on Friday, and I just had a lot of confidence, and I had a lot of confidence I was going to have success in the BFLs, and I knew the lakes a little bit, so like on Fridays, I could go try to make something work, and if it didn't work, I was 100% happy that it didn't work because I also had a backup plan that I knew I could go make work, and my whole train of thought fishing back then was if I can just get one bite before 9 o'clock to tell me how to catch 4 more, I had a chance to win. And that was my train of thought, and that's kind of the only way I looked at it back then. And of course, now you got to try to catch limits, and if you don't get on the winning pattern, you got to try to save the points, and you got to kind of do different things. But back then, you know, your philosophy was just on winning, just trying to catch 5. I see no point trying to catch 5 fish you're going to spend the rest of the day trying to cull, so we just fished for big fish. And even if we didn't have a good practice, we didn't get to practice, as long as we could get one bite before 9 o'clock to tell us how to catch 4 more, we felt like we was going to be successful that day.
Well, there you go.
That was just kind of my whole philosophy. I've just kind of stuck with that for several years.
All right. Well, thanks I know it's a work day for you before you head off to do more work on the water. So thanks for taking time to chat with me and Mark, Jamie.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you calling.
All right, man. Take care, Jamie.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
All right. There you have it. Jamie Horton. And good stuff, man. He 150 tournaments? Is that what the number was?
Yeah, over 150, yeah. And, his partner, Kobe Cardin's made classics, too, so that's a
lot.
Fearsome duo.
You know, I know we've had this conversation before, but now I would really like to see take 10 guys from Alabama and put them up against 10 guys from Oklahoma on a neutral site, not in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And see who would win. Who wins that?
I think that's a coin flip.
I agree. I think it would be very entertaining.
I think if the neutral site has grass, I'm going to go with the Alabama guys every single day.
I'm trying to think of a good neutral site that's kind of in the middle. Not Kentucky Lake, because then it turns out to be a ledge thing. Well, obviously, depending on what time of the year it is. You might be able to do Kentucky Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it in May or the end of April.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you typically see a lot of guys from Alabama and Oklahoma do really well on Kentucky Lake. And because it's got the grass, you can fish the grass, you can fish the rock, you can fish offshore, you can fish shallow, you can power fish, you can finesse fish.
You can go over to Barkley if you want to.
Yep. And we saw a lot of Oklahoma guys who like to go over to Barkley.
Yeah, Oklahoma versus Alabama. I think it would be very, very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know there's a lot of guys in Texas
and
where else? Those are the top 3. Florida, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You could do
California.
Alabama versus Florida.
Have a 4-team, like a 4-team fish
Texas
off.
versus Oklahoma, and then the winner.
Mm-hmm. Well, how long ago did you do that Texas-Oklahoma deal?
10 years ago,
with was that with Terry Brown and Wade Middleton? And
it was like 10 years ago.
But you guys did that on what, Texoma?
No, it was on Falcon.
Oh, okay. So the Texas guys had an advantage there.
Yeah. I think you put it on a neutral site, though. Let them get after it, see what they can do. All right. Tuesday, big day for us. We're going to launch the latest 20 feet deep, the $1 million idea. And we'll do that on the show here Tuesday, 9 a.m. Teasers out on the main site. I haven't even looked at iTunes. I mentioned on the last show, hey, you go in, you do a review, you give us a rating. I'm going to take a random rating and a random review from now, actually from Tuesday till the very first competition day of the Classic, and then I'm going to give away $100 worth of tackle. Random good stuff, not junk.
Original wiggle warts.
Not going to happen.
Old school rogues.
I might throw a thunder stick in there. I might throw a thunder stick, one or two thunder sticks. Original thunder sticks. You know, I was thinking about that last week. I was driving on Highway 9, and then you know where Highway 9 ends, and it runs into I-35 right there by the casino?
Yeah.
Well, if you were to keep going, I believe that would be east. That road winds around the sod farm, and then it turns up in this little town called Goldsby.
Right.
You know, that's where Storm used to be.
In Goldsby?
Yes. It had a Norman address.
How
but
close to the gaming center?
No.
Way past that. You
way
just
past.
keep going.
Yeah, and it was kind of down in a ravine, and I can remember walking through there with Jim Morton, and the guy's name was John Storm, not to be
confused with John Storm
of Bass Fan. His name was John Storm, and just row upon row, thousands and thousands of wiggle warts and jerk baits. And this was 20, 25 years ago, and I had no idea. No idea. This is way before they purchased or were sold to Rapala.
Normal.
Yeah, you had no idea.
Was the Bass or was FishOK.com sponsored by Storm?
Yeah.
Back in what, the 90s?
Yeah.
What year did you started it? The
94.
website started as FishOK.com, and it was like local fishing reports.
Yeah. 94, I think, is when it was. 94, 93, something like that.
And you've only got 20 original wiggle warts
That
left?
kills me, man. Every time I drive by Goldsby, I think about that, the access that I had to those original wiggle warts, because John was all like, yeah, man, you just let me know anytime you need anything.
Do you think those days are over with?
What's that?
Where there'll be a bait that, you know, everyone is so conscious of it now, especially with the internet and the trade that's going on there and everything, to where there won't be demands like there are for like the original wiggle warts because everybody is conscious of what's happened? Or is it a deal where it's going to happen again? It's just a lure that we're all looking at right now in the face that we're like, that'll never go away, and then it's going to go away and it's going to create the next generation of quote original.
No, it'll
wiggle
happen
warts.
again.
You think so?
Yeah, and what'll happen, it's all based upon performance. Somebody will do something with a lure that is kind of, you know,
off to the side right now.
That
That's
everybody's
sitting somewhere where you can go buy it.
I'll give you an example. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if somebody goes out and wins the Classic, and this is just an example, right? John Smith wins the Classic, and he's bed fishing with a sluggo. How many people use a sluggo now?
Yeah, but I don't think a soft plastic. I think it's got to be a hard bait.
Hang on. It is the element. Were you even around when the sluggo first came out?
Absolutely. I vividly remember.
And on Lake Fork, it was black and gold. Dude, they were selling those things at the time for like $5 a pack. And there were only 6 or 7 or 8 of them in a pack. That was the deal. That was the absolute deal. All right? Was that sluggo. But how many people truly
have them
and use them today?
None.
So that's kind of the example that I was trying to make. Forget about the soft plastic thing. Is something that was very, very prominent in the past.
That's still readily available, but not really.
I haven't even. Can you still get them on Tackle Warehouse?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Look it up real quick while we're sitting here talking. I'm curious if you can still get sluggos.
I'll look it up right here.
Dude, you got a computer right in front of you.
I have Tackle Warehouse
in your bookmarks or whatever. I don't even know if they still make them.
I'll Google slug and see.
Huh. Yes,
Here's a Lunker City sluggo.
That's it. How much do they sell for now?
They're $5 a pack.
So, dude, this was
Herb Reed's original Sluggo.
Yeah,
will whet the appetite of game fish of all sizes, from bass to muskie, skipjack to tarpon.
They even made, I don't even know what they called it, like a jumbo Sluggo.
Yeah, make it in a 3, a 4.5, and a 6-inch.
All right, but is that not a good example of something that just totally dominated 20, 25 years ago, and then suddenly somebody today decides, I was throwing a Sluggo for bettors.
Hardbait wise, though, don't you think this could be an interesting classic after what we've heard Jamie saying, the way you're thinking it's set up? I mean, it doesn't.
Two things. See if you agree with this. Two things. One, it's going to be a prototype, something that's getting ready to come out that one of the guys actually has access to, of which he was involved in the design and in the creation of this particular hardbait. It's either going to go that way, or it's going to go back to something that really hasn't come into play for quite some time. Right? Do you remember what Randy Howell did on the bridge?
Yes.
All right. It was that Livingston thing, but it was also another crankbait too. All right. Rattle trap, rattle bait.
Edwin's was actually pretty mundane when he won on Grand with just that little jig.
Yeah.
That was hard to make a buzz about that. Conroe. Jordan Lee's was not. I mean, he had the jig, but
it was homemade.
Just that real round rubber. Now we've got the comeback. I think it's called the comeback jig or something that Strike King has.
Yeah. When was the last lure in a Bassmaster Classic? And I know this is off the cuff. This is something we might need to do research on. The last lure that truly had an impact on tackle sales.
14. 13 was.
I mean, obviously, everybody sees a spike
pace
with whatever they're using
12.
most of the time.
Do you think the Ugly Otter kind of made a comeback with Chris Lane in 2012?
Yeah, but that is, maybe.
2011 was Van Dam.
What did he catch him on?
Squareville.
Yeah. Wasn't that in Pontchartrain?
Yeah, that was the Polinick, Remitz, Rook, Amart, Duckett, Kevin. They were all in that same area. 29. I think that was a rattle trap deal.
Yeah, I know the one Duckett one was a rattle trap.
20. That's the problem with the cold weather classics. You're kind of limited as to what works. I mean, Casey Ashley, 2008 then was Alton, which was the jig, and a spoon,
skeet, the spinnerbait.
Yeah, that redemption spinnerbait.
That probably was the last one. I mean, we could go back and research, but I know that really had.
I would say
a
that
huge
and
impact.
the most interesting, that and Randy's crankbaits.
Yeah.
Are probably the two that, I mean, because Cliff Pace also threw a jerk bait.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of stuff in there, but there hasn't really been one that was. Yeah. That was like, oh yeah.
I mean, obviously pure speculation, but I think it's going to go one of two ways on that. Either some prototype thing that's getting ready to come out at ICAST this year that a guy's been heavily involved in the development, design, creativeness, and he goes out
or
and
something
makes it, or something that we haven't seen for a long time.
And Hartwell, and the way it's setting up, opens up a lot more lures than there has been for the last couple years.
Jamie said it. They're going to catch them a zillion different ways. So I'm really fired up about it. I think it's going to be a cool classic. You heard me talk. I've gone on record a zillion times about the HFA and everything. I truly believe the way that things are setting up that the HFA is not going to mean that much. I really, really believe it simply because of the time of the year and the way that the conditions are setting up.
It's a fair point. I mean, I still think he's going to know where he needs to be.
I agree.
To be around the winning fish, but it's going to open it up for a lot more guys to have an opportunity to win.
Yep. All right, cool stuff. That's it, man. Excited about Tuesday.
We still got Brett Hyde on?
Yes. He's going to join us after we debut the documentary. It's about 35 minutes. Is that right? 35, 40 minutes. And then we will have Brett Hyde on live via Skype after the documentary airs on Tuesday morning and get his take on some of the stuff that went down in the documentary and just how much of an impact that bait has had on the industry from a tournament perspective and from a retail perspective.
Yeah, I was thinking there's also a lot more times that bait has played with a key fish, the chatterbait we're talking about, with a key fish in championship tournaments that it doesn't get the recognition it probably deserves. And that even happened in some of the classic wins that we just talked about where we didn't mention it. But, Randy caught his biggest one there in 2014 right there in the last couple minutes on a bladed jig. So.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right, good stuff. Want to thank Jamie for being on the show here Tuesday.
And being a good sport.
Yeah, good stuff. Man, good luck this weekend. Bottom line is be safe.
That's the game plan.
Grand Lake is a mess right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how the weights play out there. But be safe, catch some fish.
Hey, you want to go over under? You already owe me 2 lunches.
On?
It's the Open, day 1. How much weight's leading after day 1 of Ross Barnett? Let's go 25 pounds over under.
Man.
That's the number.
If you would have said 20, I would have taken the over.
25 pounds over under.
I'll take the over.
Good, because I wanted the under.
All right, we'll see. I'm 2 lunches down.
You're 2 lunches down.
All right, by the way, the over-under on you, I told you, 8 pounds. I'm taking the under. Obviously, you need to take the over on that one, my friend. Don't look so sad, man. You got those little puppy dog eyes, dude.
You can't bet on yourself.
Jeez.
I'm just trying to go have fun and catch a few fish, Mark.
All right, everybody be safe. We're back on Tuesday, 20 feet deep. Check it out. Don't forget to review us on iTunes. We will talk to you on Tuesday.